Believe that he is innocent?
I do not believe he's innocent.
So you believe he's guilty?
Yes.
The fact is they had sufficient evidence. They had a grand jury indictment, 16 felony counts. It's just someone very powerful made a phone call, and now Jussie Smollett's essentially paid $10,000 to get out of jail.
Jussie Smollett will not be prosecuted for allegedly faking a racial attack because all of the charges have been dropped. We are told the state's attorney, Kim Foxx, told Chicago police she was dropping the case because Jussie would have only gotten community service if convicted, and she said he's already performed so much community service, it doesn't make sense going into all of this and wasting all of this money.
It's outrageous. For the benefit of viewers who don't know how things usually work like this, a person gets arrested and typically they plead not guilty, a trial date is set, and between the day of the charges being filed and the trial date, they enter into a plea and take either a jail sentence or probation with community service and a fine, or they go to trial and the jury decides whether they're guilty and a judge does whatever the judge thinks is appropriate in the case. Rarely, very rarely, a state attorney will dismiss all the charges after the person does maybe 6 months of community service. That is typically for a case where, for example, a kid goes into a Kmart and steals a few fishing lures. Some minor case like that. This is not that case. In this case, Jussie Smollett, according to the state attorney's evidence that they presented to a grand jury, which charged him, as you said, with 16 felonies, totally manufactured this fraudulent attack, made it intentionally homophobic, racist, accused Trump. So I think there's something wrong here. Absolutely, there's something wrong here. Anybody who knows how the system works is going to think this is flat out corruption. Somebody made a call. Somebody who knows the state attorney or the assistant state attorney called and said, do me this favor and we'll help you down the road. That is what I feel happened in this case.
Well, Harvey Levin from TMZ joins us. Harvey, when I first heard this news, I first thought of you because I wanted to ask this simple question. What happened?
Alex, I got to tell you something. This is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in my career, ever. You basically now have prosecutors who did an end run around the entire judicial system, saying this guy committed this fake attack, which they're saying is a fake attack, going around the judge, going around the police, and letting him do a couple of hours of what they call community service, which is not even community service because it wasn't ordered by a judge, and then going into court today and blindsiding everybody and saying, just, let him go. I mean, it's not a violent crime or anything, and, it's only 16 felonies. He probably would just get community service anyway. I've never seen anything like this. It is bizarre and, as the mayor suggested, shady.
So what's the scoop? You're the king of the scoop of figuring out what's really happening behind the scenes here. How did this happen?
Well, look, the state's attorney recused herself because she had contact with some people and had, this has to do with Michelle Obama's chief of staff, and ultimately, apparently, the state's attorney tried to get the police to just kind of drop this thing and forget about it. So she recused herself, gave it to somebody else in her office, which is bizarre to me why she wouldn't have given it to the attorney general, a completely different agency. But she gave it to somebody in her staff. But ultimately, in the end, the decision to do this came out of the office of the state's attorney. That's her. So she recused herself, but her office, and that's her, they made the decision, let's just drop it. He did a couple of hours with Jesse Jackson's charity and, helping out with figuring out camera angles and whatnot. That's the community service. The police are livid. The mayor is livid. The judge this is a complete end run around the judge, because if there really were community service, the judge would be supervising it. That didn't happen. So what's the scoop? I can't answer it. I have never seen anything like this before, ever.